Welcome back to the Stockwell Eldritch Show. Another great show for you today. We have Don Doty in studio and Stephanie Havel with Wells Fargo talking about a ton of stuff in inspections. I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX.
And I'm Don Eldridge with RE/MAX Results.
So the tip I was going to tell people, the little advice, is a lot of sellers were a little concerned over the parade of homes here. Regular home sellers, if you're not in the parade, and they said, man, what happened? The showings aren't here. What's going on? They expected a lot more activity. If you go to the parade models, just go to a parade home on a Sunday and you'll see where all the buyers are. So the parade is taking a lot of the buyers and they're just walking through, getting ideas and things like that. You'll see a major bump up, I think, on showings and activity and offers, frankly, after the last weekend of the parade and after, because that's when everybody got all their ideas. If they didn't get a new home or they don't want a new home, but they want to renovate a different home or they want an older home or a used home, then that's where they're going to come out. So because we had a couple of properties where the seller was like, man, what happened? We're not getting the showings or the activity that we wanted. And they're being eaten up by the hype and the total interest in the parade of homes, which is great if you're in the parade of homes. And we have a property in the parade of homes, a development in Roseville, single level living at Roseville Garden Station. Another client has twin homes in Bloomington. So if you're looking for single level new construction in Bloomington, let us know about that, your interest on that. And a bunch of other stuff coming up. And there's too many to list. We have a ton of other pre-list properties or properties that are coming on the market. You can always reach out to us directly or via Facebook if you want a specific area or have a specific need. We are happy to help with that.
Well, and I was going to say, too, be sure to call me or contact Wells Fargo because we have some really great promotions going on right now.
Tim sent me one. What was the deal with that?
Yeah, so there's one. If you are putting 20% down on a 30-year fix, Wells Fargo is offering a temporary buy down. So I don't know, many of you maybe not have heard of a buy down. We haven't used them in a while. But basically, it buys down your rate for the first year, and Wells Fargo is paying the cost of that. So.
Like an example would be.
So let's say you have an interest rate of 4% with an APR of 4.125. We would pay the cost of that buy down, so your interest rate would be 3% with an APR 3.1.
So it's a 1 point buy down essentially.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. And Wells Fargo. No, normally people would, back in the day, maybe the 80s or 90s, when rates were really high, you would hear about people doing buy downs, like a 3-2-1 buy down. If the rate was 12%, they would buy it down to 10% the first year, and then it goes up to 11% and then 12%. So it's not an arm; it's just a buy down of the rate.
So that's a good situation. So folks, if you're listening and you've gotten a mortgage before, you can always buy down your rate initially and you pay for it, right? So you could say, well, I'm at X rate and I want to buy it down a half a point. You pay for that up front and you just upfront pay for it. Now you have a lower rate. And then it's a matter of how long you're going to be there. Does it make sense to even do this and that sort of thing? And you calculate that out. This is a great deal from Wells Fargo then if they're taking that on and buying down a full percent for your first year in the home. And it sounds like so you have 20% down. Is the
30-year fix.
And a 30-year fix.
And it's primary or investment. But it's pretty much a no-brainer. If
Yeah,
you're
that's
purchasing a
phenomenal.
home right
Even
now.
for investment?
And you're not investment, no, primary or
I thought
secondary.
you said or.
Second
Okay,
home.
sorry.
Yep. But if you're purchasing a home right now, 30-year fixed, and the promotion will end, but 30-year fixed with 20% down, you really need to call Wells Fargo, stop in, call your loan officer. Call me, 612-940-7335. But, always, it's the same thing, though. Check, when we get a lot of people, they're out in the parade, and they're looking at homes, and they think, oh, well, shoot, I was only pre-approved for $200,000, and this house is $225,000, it's out of our league. Talk to your lender, go back and say, hey, you know what, I saw this house. What are my options? Sometimes it can or cannot work, but there are different things that we can do with financing options to make it work for you because we want you to get that house of your dreams.
Yep.
And that's what our job is, to educate you and show you what your financing options are. So we have your first mortgage, 3% down. We are the only lender that has this program where it's 3% down, conventional product. There's no income restrictions. There's no restrictions on the cost of the home. Other lenders have, Fannie and Freddie Mac have their home ready program, but you can't make over a certain income limit, or the house can't be a certain amount, or you have to be a first-time buyer. Wells Fargo has removed all of that. So if you want to buy a house, maybe it's a little bit more than you wanted, you didn't have the 20%, no problem. You can still go conventional, 3% financing. Wells Fargo, it's called Your First Mortgage. It's great.
A lot of things the pre-approval is so critical. It's the inspection, all the contingencies when you put an offer in on a home. can count against you. And, so cash obviously is great. If you're not in that ability, or you don't have that ability, then you're doing financing, and your financing is so critical. The type of loan that you put, how you can and you need to have your agent, or we as agents communicate that to the listing agent when you're trying to buy a home, that you've already been through underwriting. Maybe you've already had certain things done, so that it's a stronger chance of it going through and not having anything go awry or cause the sale to not happen.
Yep. And I got to say, I'm working with Tim right now with some buyers, and he's with Wells Fargo. He's works with Stephanie, and he is phenomenal. His follow through has been so wonderful. He is on it, very communicative, not overly communicative, but just really prompt and immediate response, which is so nice to have in a lender. Some lenders get too busy, they get too caught up in everything, and then you don't have good communication. So it's important to have great communication with your lender.
And what's the most important of all in real estate, especially when you're in a marketplace where it's this hot, or where it's very active, and you have to be quick, you have to be fast.
Be fully approved?
No, from a professional standpoint, from me, you, the loan officer, showing up, being there, working, right? I actually daily. I mean, it's not some.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, and unfortunately we got spring break and all this, or fortunately, I guess it's good to have a spring break, and we're going on spring break. But you have to have someone there helping you, that's ready to answer the phone, that's available, that's in it. This isn't a part-time deal. This isn't a situation where you can be like, oh, yeah, I'll get back to you when I want. Oh, yeah, I'm busy. Or, I mean, you have to be, and that's one thing about all real estate, I think, professions, I don't care what it is, appraisal all the way through lending to real estate, is the passion that the people have for the job and the availability that we subject ourselves to serve clients and help them on their needs.
Well, and our team, does work weekends. I mean, Saturdays and Sundays, we're right there with you. And,
another really important thing. Some lenders don't.
We got to instill the Don Doty work mentality, though. you got to get 6 pre-approvals done by 10 a.m. here. Crank them on here now.
Well, I'm not going to say we're the earliest bunch. Real estate isn't necessarily the business that starts at 6 a.m. or anything like that. But come 9 a.m. or 8:30, 9 a.m., you're rolling in the business. You started, because we do a lot of nights and weekends. So that's our excuse for sleeping a little later.
I answer emails in the middle of the night. Like if I wake up, I'll quick look at my emails, and then I'll respond.
No, that's not as good, because then they'll know that you're working. They can call you back. But you're right, Saturdays and Sundays, even though our Wells Fargo banks are closed on Sundays, many of our loan officers, including myself, it's Sunday morning and you're hearing the radio show right now and you're thinking, hey, I want to hear more about this Wells Fargo thing you have going on. Absolutely. Call me, 612-940-7335. I am volunteering at church a little bit, so if I don't answer, I will call you back within a few hours. So, but you're right. I mean, it's so important. And again, pre-approvals, we hear about it all the time. Sometimes we hear it from realtors. I just got a call the other day from another lender saying, and I have respect for this lender. He said, these people want to put down 3% and we can't do it because they make too much money. And he's like, I know Wells Fargo has a 3% down program. Now, he could have very easily said, well, you're going to have to come up with 5% down in order for me to do this loan for you. And not even told the customer that this program is out there. Yep. But I have to, again, that's where you have that respect in the industry. And he said, hey, Stephanie, I know that Wells Fargo can do this loan all day long. These customers, they really need it. Don't flip them to FHA. Don't tell them they've got to come up with more money and then they lose the house. So really be in constant communication with your loan officer and making sure, same thing, talk to the real estate agent. We're all really connected. And they can tell you, hey, you can't put FHA on this house. It's not going to go. If you want this house, Don, you could talk to people as well. When you're doing an inspection, you're going to have to go conventional, or, I would same thing. Appreciate that advice.
Well,
as a seller,
again,
you're doing that.
Jason's right.
Yes. Say that again.
Wait a minute.
Don.
Let's say that louder. Pause. Say that again, Don.
I hear that so often. It's just.
Jason is right.
No, Jason is absolutely right. What a great idea he had about 20 minutes ago. We have one more segment, right?
Yep.
So here's what I'm going to offer. Okay, this is a great deal. Jason's right. When you are out looking for homes, and call me up, I'm going to give you a special deal till April. Is there 30th in April? Is it?
Yes.
April 30th.
Yes.
I'm going
End of April.
I'm going to give anybody that calls me until the end of April. But you're going to have to wait for the next segment, and I'm going to give you the price. And then that way, if you're looking for a house, call me up. I'll walk through it with you. I'll give you 20 minutes. Nothing will be written. You're going to know everything there is to know in 20 minutes if you want to go ahead with this deal. Because just real quick, the other day I did one, charged the people $450. They were there 2 minutes. And I said, you need to replace the windows and all the siding. And they looked at each other, first-time home buyers, and they said, well, we might as well lock the door and go home because we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So I could have saved them a lot of money.
If they did it maybe during the pre-offer or before the offer, maybe.
Yeah, it's a
for
great
the-
idea.
Or you could refer
Yeah.
to Wells Fargo for a renovation finance loan. We might have to talk about that.
Yeah, there you
That
go.
could be good. We might be working with Tim already. All right, stay tuned, folks. We'll be back with more, and we'll hear the promotion from Don about setting yourself up for success on the offer. Stay tuned.